I'm Ashley, and today I wanted to just talk about a little bit about like my past and a little bit about why I chose to grow up in the town that I grew up in, why I chose the home that I chose to grow up in, why I chose my parents, and basically why I chose my community. Because I did grow up in a small town, very small, um, in Iowa. If there's anybody watching this that doesn't know that I'm from Iowa. um, but anyway, yeah, I grew up in a really small town in Springville, Iowa. And the place, that town just means so much to me. There was a time where I just hated it. I absolutely hated it. And um, I feel like there's a light and a dark side to growing up in a small town. And the light side of growing up in a small town is the community, the relationships that you form, the closeness. I had really a very small class. Like, I believe we had like maybe 50 some people in our class, and that was like a big class for our town. Like, so you just form really close connections to people. They really become your family, and that's really why I chose to grow up in that town. And I honestly believe that I chose it. I remember choosing it. I remember choosing my home. I remember I remember seeing it. I remember picking it out, pretty much. So, like my childhood home, the home that I grew up in from like ages 5 to whatever. But that was like my childhood home. So, and that was the town that I grew up in, and it's amazing because my parents grew up in that town too. So it really it means a lot, and like it's part of my roots. And as I'm expanding, as I'm growing, my roots, they just dig even deeper, and I'm so appreciative of my roots. I'm so appreciative of where I come from. I'm so appreciative of everything that has made me into who I am. And that town has made me into who I am. And I chose to grow up in the Midwest because I wanted to have really good morals, honestly. I am very sweet, and that's one of my favorite things about me. I'm just very kind, I'm very loving, I have an open heart, until I shut that part off of me. And it's funny though, because I feel like everybody could still see it. It was just me that was blind to it, or didn't want to see it, or mostly I didn't want to feel it. And so I've always been very like, not to like toot my own horn, I guess, but likable. And I had friends, and I liked all different kinds of people. Like, you know how there's like cliques, and I just remember liking everybody. Even my teachers. I loved my teachers, and I gave everyone such a hard time. And they still love me. They still wanted what was best for me, even when I didn't want what was best for myself, because I didn't know any better. And so I just really appreciate where I come from, and just all the people in that community. I did a lot of sports. I did a lot of like school activities, honestly, because I didn't want to be at home. I didn't want to be with my family, and that's why the people in that town became my family. My classmates became my family. I did a lot of sports, and I don't like sports. I always wanted to be a cheerleader, honestly. I just always wanted to be a cheerleader, and it just makes so much sense. Like, what's the one thing that cheerleaders have? Spirit. I've got lots of spirit. And I was always flexible, and like I really liked dancing. And I just was super insecure, and I didn't think I had the body for it. I didn't think, all those things that you think when you're a teenager. And I'm just looking back now, and I'm just like, it makes so much sense. Like, I always wanted to be a cheerleader. I always wanted to dance, and so yeah, I did a lot of sports. I mean, I wasn't good at them. I enjoyed volleyball. That was my favorite because it was very, like, passive, whereas, like, the other sports were, well, like, basketball is very, like, aggressive, and, like, your hands are on, and, there's a lot of action. But anyway, I mostly enjoyed the teamwork. That was what my favorite thing about sports was, is teamwork makes the dream work. That's still one of my favorite quotes ever, because it's so true, and I can apply it to my life now. So I love the teamwork. I loved the teamwork. I loved not being at home. Like I said, I loved like the girls that I was in sports with. Like I loved their families. Like their parents were, like, I was envious of a lot of their parents. And not that my parents are terrible. They're not terrible people. Like I can't blame my parents, because I could blame all the way back to the beginning of my bloodline. Like there's just there's no point in me blaming my parents for anything, and so I don't. And I just don't blame them. And so, but yeah, the people that I grew up in, and the families and their parents, like not even the girls that I was around and my friends, but a lot of their parents, I just love them. And they were always so supportive of me, and like I could just tell that they really cared. So, just thank you if you watch this, or to all the parents, like, you just helped me so much. And, like my classmates, like I had so much fun. The school system, I just know that, like, I knew as incarnating, and when I was going to incarnate as a soul, that, like, the education wasn't going to be for me. It wasn't gonna be what I needed, because really what I needed to do is access love and access the part of me that is all-knowing, and schools don't teach that to children. They teach them to, like, sit in a classroom, and that's why I feel really passionate about, like, incorporating meditation into school systems, because I believe that if we did that, we could reach a lot more children, and we could reach their potential. We could help them reach their potential, and not by forcing them, but guiding them. And should be more what it's about, like guiding people to their highest good, and not like forcing certain, like, not everything is for everyone. And like the school system is very rigid. It's very masculine energy. It's very rigid, and it's only reaching certain people that like, if you have to mix the child with the school, and not every child is growing up in homes that are telling them that they're smart, telling them that they are capable, telling them that they are brilliant, telling them that they can do anything. There are children that grow up in homes that don't hear those things, and then they go to school, and we have people trying to tell them that, and they don't believe it, because it's a belief being formed in their home, and then they come to school and they don't know how to apply themselves. I had a teacher that helped me, and I'm so thankful for her. She put up with so much. Even after I graduated, she was like, I just laugh now because I couldn't see it then. I couldn't see it, and now I'm just like so thankful for her. And she helped me through so much, like from middle school all the way. She helped me get my first car. Actually, 2 of my teachers from that town helped me get my first car, and another helped me get my first job that I was at for 8 years. And she always wanted what was best for me, always. I didn't always want what was best for me. I didn't know what was best for me at the time. But anyway, like, I'm just so thankful for both of them, because without them, I don't know where I would be. So, honestly, like, thank you to you guys if you see this. And I'm just extremely grateful, and I'm in a great place now. And it took me a long time to get there, and I had to dig through a lot of crap. I had to do the work. I had to go there. And it's funny because one of those teachers always told me, she was like, you're one of those people that has to, like, touch the burner to see if it's still hot. That's so true for me. And I have to really experience things. That's just how I learn as a soul too. I learn in contrast. So it's important for me to, like, enmesh myself into an experience so that I can actually learn from it. I'm very, like, hands-on. I'm a hands-on learner, so it's important for me to, like, trial and error and experience those things. But mostly, and I just wanted to just like say, like, I'm just thankful for the parents. I'm thankful for the community. I love like knowing where I came from, and I chose my home because I love being outside. Me and my brother both. I remember choosing with my brother. I remember choosing my brother. So, and I remember choosing my parents too, actually. So, like, this is something that we all knew. Um, like we knew where we, that's that's how I see it. Like, but I'm seeing from my soul. I see from a different level. A lot of people don't want to believe that they could create or choose to experience certain things, such as like diseases or like cancer, for example, and that can be hard to comprehend, and it can make you go either way. It can either make you like hate God, it can make you want to blame God, how could this happen to me, or it can make you go the other way and you can see it as a gift and learn what you need to learn from it and feel it. And I just believe that we co-create our existence, and so we create disease in our bodies by repressing our emotions, and then we form a habit. When you form a habit and you have repressed emotions, they create dis-ease in your body. So disharmony, dis-ease, disease. They cause disease in your body. And what we choose to put into our bodies, how we choose to talk to ourselves, that either feeds that disease or it kills it. And fear is what feeds disease. Fear is what feeds fear and lower vibration feelings, emotions. When we keep those inside of us and we don't allow ourselves to feel them. Sugar is another thing that feeds disease and feeds especially cancer cells. And we are co-creating that. So by what we choose to put into our bodies, by what we choose to do, by the actions we decide to take, by having such a I want to say like catastrophic, but it's more like a catalyst. And my dad getting cancer was a catalyst for me. It was, I believe cancer stems from, I believe the root of cancer and the reason why a lot of people in our country have cancer is because, what's the one thing that cancer makes you feel? Powerless. You feel completely out of control. Your life could be taken at any minute. You could last 3 years. You could last a couple days. And the thing that cancer teaches people is it teaches them how to come back to the present moment. It teaches them how to take their power back. So yes, I choose to see cancer as that. Some people choose to see it as crippling, and they can choose to suffer from it. But I believe that that's where it stems from. I believe that that's where we create from. So that's where I believe that cancer stems from. That's where I believe the root is. So, because I see things at a deeper level. I'm not just seeing things in the body, but like I said, we have emotions, and when we repress our emotions, if we have feelings of powerlessness, if we experienced some event in, even if it wasn't even in this lifetime, but if it's in this lifetime, you may have experienced an event as a child that made you feel powerless. One example is rape makes people feel powerless. And that's another thing. How could rape be something that you would choose, right? How could that be something that we choose to experience as a soul? People don't like to see things like that, and I can understand that for sure. But it's also how you decide to look at it, and you can either let it have the power over you, or you can choose to say, like, yeah, this happened to me, this is what I experienced, but look how fucking strong I am. Like, look at who I am. Like, look at what I faced and I got through. I'm still here today. I'm still here. And, of course you have to feel, you have to grieve, you have to allow yourself to feel the emotions that come up with such terrible events. It's not like they aren't terrible or that you don't feel things in those present moments or our trauma. Like, people have been physically abused, and how could you ever choose to to experience such a thing as a soul. But if you look at our souls, if you want to understand how souls learn, it's through contrast. And to know one end of a spectrum, we have to know the other. Otherwise, we don't see it. And so, just like with the light and the dark, if we didn't have the sun, we would not, or if we didn't have like darkness, we wouldn't appreciate the light so much. So, there's like, to me, it's just deeper than, it's like a lot of our minds, though, especially in this country, in America, our minds are, they become kind of like rocks. They're just hard as rocks. I was thinking about this because I practice yoga, and right now, I'm using muscles that I haven't used, that probably have never been used in my entire life. And when I stretch them, they feel like like they're hard as rocks. They feel like I'm stretching out rocks. And I think of the brain as sort of a muscle that needs to be stretched, and it is just, it's so like, I just see it like all rusty. That's what it looks like. It looks rusty, and it looks like concrete. It's just like, it's like the mind needs to be stretched, and that's what people like. People don't like to stretch their minds. I do. I like to exercise my mind, and if we didn't exercise our mind, like the one way I was able to lose so much weight is because I exercised my mind. And our mind controls our whole entire body. It's the organ that controls our body. And if you can control your mind, you take your power back. And we control our mind by being in the present moment, by not allowing our emotions to overtake us and create scenarios in our head that are illusions that we do to try to keep ourselves safe or protected. One thing that I'm learning is that I use perfectionism as a way to self-sabotage. Oh, I'm just not ready yet. I'm just not good enough yet. But I also received a lot of criticism growing up. I never received like, oh, you did such a great job, like, I'm so proud of you. It was like, well, you could have done this a little better, or look at what you missed over here. Like, I mean, just even like cleaning my room. So it embeds this belief in your head that you're just not good enough yet. You're just not good enough yet, and it's killing my dreams. And I just want to like say a big fuck you to that belief, like I am good enough, that I am worthy, that I can do whatever I want, and I'll never stop believing in myself. Like, so I'll never stop believing in anybody else in their dreams. And that's how I know that I can change people's lives, is because I will never give up on myself. Ever. It's impossible. I will never stop believing in myself. And when I'm able to do that for myself, when I'm able to believe in myself, when I'm able to not give up on myself, then I am able to help other people feel the same way. And that's honestly what I came here to do. And so many people believe that they're not worth it. That so many people struggle comparing themselves to other people. Especially, I had this thought about mothers. And if you are a mother and you're watching this, I want you to look in the mirror, and I want you to tell yourself, I am a good mother. I feel like so many women are struggling to have confidence when it comes to being a mom, because there's so much to compare ourselves to. And like, I speak like I'm a mother. I am a mother. I am. And I had to reparent myself. And so I learned how to become a mother. I learned how to become my own mother. I learned how to become my own father. I had to learn how to... I didn't have parents that encouraged me to follow my dreams. I didn't have parents that told me I was beautiful. I didn't have parents that told me I was smart. I didn't have parents that told me I could have anything I ever wanted. I didn't have parents that told me that I was worth it, or that I deserve it, or, so I had to tell those things to myself. And like I said, I don't blame my parents. I don't. Because who did they hear it from? They obviously didn't hear it from anyone either. Otherwise, they would have told it to me. But like I said, I could go back generations, so I don't blame them. But I had to do it myself, and I did it myself. I cheered myself on. I, nurtured myself, because I have to be really gentle with myself. That's part of being a mother, is, I had to hold myself while I was crying. I had to pull myself out of bed, and I had to tell myself that I was beautiful. I had to look in the mirror every day and tell myself how beautiful I was until I believed it. And that's just what we have to do. And as mothers, we have to really develop confidence, and we have to be confident in our parenting. And however you choose to parent is right for you. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. Don't let anyone try to tell you that you're doing anything wrong, because as long as you're living with integrity and you believe that you're doing what's best for your child, do it. Don't listen to other people. Like, it's just, I hate, like, you are a good mom. Like, and I feel like people, like, see all these stuff and then they, like, compare themselves, and then they're just like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not good. Because that's one of the things, talk about killing my dreams. I've always wanted to be a mom. But one way I self-sabotage myself is, what if I'm not good at it? What if I'm not good at being a mom? What if I'm not good enough? You know? That could stop me from being a mom. Like, and I always had that thought, like, I don't want to bring kids in this world. And now I'm like, no. My kids need to be in this world. Like, I'm going to raise some little light warriors. And they're going to change the world, because I believe they can, because I believe I can. And if we were all raising our children to believe that they could change the world, like, maybe we could actually start changing the world. And that sounds so, like, naive, but we tell children in elementary schools. I remember being in elementary school and them telling us, and I actually cleaned at an elementary school, and I loved like, all the stuff in the elementary school. Like, in the library, it was like, change the world, and it's like, but why did they get rid of this when we get into middle school and high school? It's like, okay, stop, now you know, like, it's just make-believe. Like, no, you can change the world, and it's not like you have to be, I always hear, like, when I see trash on the ground, because I came here to help Mother Earth, honestly, and the way that I came to help Mother Earth is helping people heal themselves, so that we can, in return, heal the earth, and then she can regenerate herself, and we can, like, get back to, like, a healthy earth. Oh, shoot, I lost my train of thought. When I see garbage, like, and I want to pick up all the garbage, like, and sometimes it's like, there's so much that I can't pick it all up, and I hear this, like, my soul is like, you are not responsible for every American. And that's something that's, like, especially as mothers, we take on this, like, need to, like, take care of everybody else, but sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves, and we think we're being, like, selfless, and it's like, oh, we're putting ourselves last. No, you put yourself first, and then by you being able to put yourself first, you're able to endlessly provide your love and your support, and it's just, like, we've kind of got lost in trying to be what we think men want us to be, and not being who we are. And the thing is that men don't want us to be the way we are being told we are supposed to be by society. It's a lie, and it stops us from being intimate with men and allowing ourselves to go there. Like, when we feel insecure about ourselves, like, you can look however you want and be confident about it. Like, it's just, we just get caught up comparing ourselves, and I was one of those women. Like, definitely, I didn't think my boobs were big enough. I thought my stomach was too big. I thought my thighs were too big. I thought my hair was too thin. I thought my eyes were too squinty. I thought my teeth weren't straight enough. They weren't wide enough. Like, my arms were flabby. You could come up with all this stuff, and it's just, like, ridiculous. Like, but also I know that, like, I chose to, like, I've hated myself in a lot of lifetimes, and so I chose to, this time I really wanted to learn self-love, and man, like I said, I need the contrast. I have to have the contrast to see, and I believe that America is the same way. Like, in this country, we're gonna have to see it. We're gonna have to really see the hatred before we realize that, before we can love ourselves again as a country. And I see myself as part of the country. Like, I am the country. I am America. And that's kind of got long-winded and kind of off track, because I really just want to talk about a small town, but it's just, like, where I come from, and I just kind of want to, I'm feeling the need to, like, express myself more and show more of who I truly am. Oh, it's so funny, because I had this moment last night. I got pulled over, and I didn't have my license with me, and I haven't updated my license in probably, like, 4 years. And I've lost like 170 pounds. So he looked up my ID like on his computer in his car or whatever. And he comes back and he's like, we're just having one problem. Your ID says that you weigh 325 pounds. And that's, you obviously don't weigh that much. And like, so he like didn't believe that it was me. Like he did eventually, because like I repeated my social security number, and like I knew my date, like it was no hesitation, you know, obviously, but that was just an example of like, I don't even look the same, you know. So sometimes I feel like maybe people feel like they don't know me, or it's like getting to know a whole new person. And I guess that's probably true. For me, it feels like this is who I've always been. I'm just using my voice now. I just have the confidence that I never had before. And so, yeah. But I just see like a lot of why I was the way I was growing up, and why I chose to grow up in a small town, and why I grew up like I love my classmates. And it was so hard. I remember when I first started, like, because we get attachments to these people in these small towns, and I would have dreams like about my classmates, because we have these attachments, and then when we're like changing or we're evolving, we can kind of let that hold us back, like worrying about what these other people think, you know, like, and it's not because like, and it's not like you can just be like, fuck them, like, no, the reason I worried so much is because I cared so much about these people, and I cared about their opinions, I cared about them, and that's why it affected me, like, that's why it was hard for me, it was hard for me to let go of that attachment of my town, and it's funny because we just moved out of the town at the perfect time, and like just how our lives were changing. It's just, for me, I can see the whole picture. It's like I'm turned around, and like I'm seeing things from a whole new perspective, and I can see why everything worked out the way it did, and it just makes so much sense. So but I did receive a message just today, actually, that was really kind. A classmate's dad messaged me and told me how proud he was of me, of everything that I've accomplished, and how amazing that I look, and that just really meant a lot to me. Just like I said, that's what made me think of making this video too, is because that was so nice to hear, like so nice to hear from someone who knew me then, but doesn't really know a whole lot about me now, but just can tell by looking at me that I've changed, or that like I've done something for myself, and it was just really nice to hear. So that makes me so thankful for like growing up in a small town, growing up, because like you can hate it too, because you're like, it's so gossipy, and it's so like everybody knows your business, and people think that they know you, but they don't know you, and they have these perceptions of you, and they have these like beliefs, especially they think because like your actions when you were in school like somehow defines your whole entire future, and it's just not that. It's just like, and people just, like I said, very gossipy, and it's just funny that Jesus is my ascended master, and I grew up in a town that's super gossipy. Just stop gossiping, don't talk shit about people, like why? Be proud of them and send them love, even if you don't agree with what they're doing, like they're still a human, and the more you, it's just like, don't be mean to people. I was mean to people, and I was miserable, so, and being mean to other people is just a reflection of how mean you are to yourself. If you're talking shit about other people, it's because you're talking shit to yourself on the daily, and, so get that in check. Once you get your own, when you stop talking shit to yourself, like, then it's just like, you have no reason to say it to other people, like, because they're just reflections of you. And so if anybody wants to look at me and thinks, you know, just use me as your mirror, like, and I am you, and you are me, and especially like my town, I'm just so appreciative of that town, and I'm just thankful for the people, I'm thankful for my childhood. Yeah, and I chose to grow up in my house because, being outside, I love being outside, especially in the summer, and like, we just had a big yard, we went camping a lot, and I love the earth, She's my favorite. She helps me stay grounded and centered, and she makes me feel loved. I love talking to the trees. I do believe in fairies. I believe in angels. I believe in unicorns. I love unicorns. So, yeah, I am like a child. I really am. But that's the thing, is we should start treating children, especially because there's going to be a lot of children that are born that are very, very wise, because we need them right now on this planet. And we should be treating our children more like adults, and and it's like we have to switch the roles, because a lot of adults have a lot of inner child wounding, and they're just like big babies that need to be loved right now. And our kids can do that for us, but we can't get attached to our kids. We can't get attached to them and how they make us feel. And like sometimes we get attached to the idea of who we think our child is, and then when they're not, it feels like maybe they're dying, or they're being ripped away from us, or we're losing them. And it's just because we have a preconceived idea of who we think this person is, but we're just like a little nest. Parents are just a little nest for their child, and all they have to do is nurture them and encourage them, and they bloom, they grow. But when you force your ideas on them, you force your beliefs on them, they grow up in chaos, they grow up in hate, they grow up in violence, then they're just lost. They're completely lost, and they just have to find their way back to themselves. And when they do, they can spend their whole lives numbing themselves out and maybe die in early. I know I was gonna die if I did not have this spiritual awakening. I would have died very young. I was extremely overweight. I had developed type 2 diabetes. I was just extremely unhealthy, and it was because I was sad. I was so miserable on the inside, and I wasn't being who I truly was. I was not aligned with who I am and what I believe, and it was killing me from the inside out. And that's why I had to start from the inside. That's why my healing started from the inside out. And as I changed on the inside, my body changed on the outside, and my energy began to change, and my beliefs began to change, and so anyway, yeah, we should be treating our children like they're adults, and we should be talking to them. They're very smart. They're very brilliant. My two nephews are, I feel like they just are very smart to me. They're very intelligent, and they need to hear that, so that they can develop their intelligence. And the masculine energy is just very intelligent. They're very logical. So we can teach little masculines, because we need little masculines. Little masculines are what's going to change the world. There's I just feel like a lot of boys, so a lot of boys have been born recently. I've just noticed this from a lot of people, and they're like a upgraded version of what a masculine is. So they're like the new version of the masculine, which will be like the divine masculine, because right now our country is ruled basically by the distorted masculine. But if they grow up in this age of because there's still going to be violence, they're going to grow up in homes that aren't suitable for them. They're going to learn it through their bloodline, That's what I came here to do, is to stop that, because it was seeping through, I just came to put a big clog in the bloodline. Big clot, really. I came to clot that bloodline, and I'll do whatever it takes to continue to leave a legacy behind for my family, for my bloodline, for generations to come. And that is part of my purpose, and it's something that I'm proud of. It's something that I'm excited for, and yeah, so I just wanted to share a little bit about, sometimes I just go on rants, but honestly, I'm in this space where it's I don't have, I'm learning to discern who to talk to these things about and who not to, because some people just don't want to hear it, and that's fine, and I'm getting really good, and so I don't have a lot of people around me right now that want to hear it, and instead I'll make videos, and I'll express my truth here, and that way I'm still getting it out, because I don't want to keep it inside of me, because I don't feel like I should have to. I'm so excited. I'm so proud of how far I've come. I'm so proud of everything I've done, and it's funny because when you work for God, like, He will provide for you. And it has looked nothing like I thought it was going to look like, or what I wanted it to look like, honestly, like, from my mind's point of view. But it's been so much better, and, like, I feel so good, and I feel so proud, and I feel worthy, and that's the whole point. We ask God for something, and He delivers in a way that is almost, like, contrasting, which makes sense, to what we want, and it's really genius, and it really just helps you learn, like, and I've learned so much about patience and forgiveness and compassion and self-love, and self-love is really just another word for self-discipline, and I've got plenty of self-discipline. I'm not scared to, like, put in the work. Sometimes the work seems overwhelming, and so sometimes I self-sabotage myself because I feel overwhelmed. That's why it's important for me to be gentle with myself and to go really slow, because sometimes I can get ahead of myself, and then I'm like, whoa, put on the brakes, so it's just like a slow and steady movement. Otherwise it's like I get really overwhelmed, and I'm very much like I mentioned before, like, my mind is my favorite thing about me, and so sometimes my mind can play tricks on me and, like, want to get ahead of itself, and it wants to know all the details. And, like, learning to let go of control and trusting that what's coming is better, and, like, what's coming will be joy, because I'm aligned with joy. So, of course, if I'm aligned with joy, then joy is what I will be attracting. But when you're just not used to feeling that, it can be uncomfortable. It can feel really uncomfortable, honestly. It can feel, and you'd think, oh, it's joy, how can it feel uncomfortable? But when it's unfamiliar, it's like being in the unknown. It's like walking through the dark, and you're like, oh, am I supposed to feel this way? And, so, yeah. Just wanted to share a little bit about, like, and I'm just trying to, like, rest, and I'm just feeling a lot of shifts coming through. I feel like a huge channel right now, like, just like, I can just feel the light codes just flooding through me, like, through my crown chakra, and I'm just grounding them into the earth, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting just being here. Just, for me, it's exhausting being on earth, like, taking on the energy of everybody. I feel everything around me. I feel everything. And I hated it. I used to hate it. I used to hate that I felt everything. I thought it was a curse. I thought it was just, I hated it. I really did. And now it's like I love it. But I had to learn how to, like, love myself and really take care of myself. That's why it's important. That was important for me to get my health in order. It was important for me to, like, get my eating habits changed. It was important for me to exercise and to move myself and to write and to do those things, because I have to have something for me to keep me sometimes it feels like it's not that I don't want to be on earth. Like, I know I came here for a reason, but there are certain things I want. Like, right now I just feel like I'm just supposed to be here just to channel these codes, just to be an anchor for the new light codes, because I'm strong enough, because my soul is strong enough. My soul has always been very strong, but my body wasn't. So it's like I just had to upgrade my vessel, and all I have to do is be an anchor and bear this light, and it's exhausting. It's people don't think because, oh, I'm not doing any physical labor, that it's not exhausting, and I'm just taking on a lot for other people, and, like, I'm taking the fear. I can feel everybody's fear. I can feel the fear of this country, and I'm just taking it all, and I'm just like, I'm grounding it into the earth. It's like I'm channeling it through my crown chakra, and I'm turning it into light, and then I'm just, like, blasting that light into the earth, and I'm just anchoring light. I just came here to anchor heaven and earth, and that seems like, oh, yeah, that's a real thing. Like, it's a real thing that you came here to be an anchor from heaven. Like, how made up does that sound? Like, of course that sounds made up, but it's my truth. And that's what I'm feeling today. I just was standing up doing some yoga, just standing on the earth, and I could just feel the energy moving through my body, and And it's just like everything's being upgraded and shifted, and that takes a lot out of somebody. So it's important for me to rest and to take care of myself. And sometimes I hate resting, but I've also grown up in a home where it was like we were taught to just always be doing and to not just be, and we're human beings, not human doings. And that was the hardest lesson I think of all, was learning how to incorporate my feminine energy, which is stillness and receptivity and rest and like renewal and hibernation and just non-movement. It's stillness, and that was hard for me to do that. It was really hard for me to learn how to allow myself to not to beat myself up when I wasn't doing anything or when I needed to take a break. Like, for heaven's sakes, we need breaks. And people are just like busting their balls and they're working their asses off and it's killing them. And I, for one, will not kill myself. I just will not do it. I did not come here to do that. I just did not. And it's not because I'm being selfish or lazy. It's because the way we're living here is not in balance at all. And when we're not in balance, shit hits the fan. And I mean, hello, look at our country. Shit's hitting the fan because we're super unbalanced and we're not incorporating our feminine energy. It's all masculine energy. And it's not even divine masculine energy, it's distorted masculine energy, which is like neglect your family, neglect your health, neglect everything, and just make lots of money because that's what women want, like, no. Women don't want you to provide financial security for them. They want you to provide a safe and loving, what's the word? They just want you to be, like, a safe and loving from within. Like, it's secure within. And when you feel secure within, then you end up creating security without. So anyway, as I've still continued to ramble now for 45 minutes, this really helps me, honestly. So if you've watched this whole thing, thank you for listening. I'm going to probably post more, but maybe I'll try to keep them shorter. I talk a lot. I talk a lot. I really do. And yeah. Anyway, I just look outside a lot. It helps me stay, I like to watch the birds. I could just, watch the outside, watch nature. I'm a total bird watcher. I just love looking at it and, the snow and the trees. Anyway, I don't even know why I'm still on this, so I'm gonna go, and I hope that you have a lovely day. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and thank you to my family if you're watching this, thank you to my town if you're watching this, thank you to my classmates if you're watching this, thank you to my teachers if you're watching this. Just thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate my childhood. I appreciate my parents. I appreciate everything that has ever happened to me, because if it didn't, I wouldn't be who I am today, and I wouldn't be here. And I'm so proud of where I am, and I'm so proud of myself, and I love myself, and I hope that you can love yourself too. And I'm sending lots of love and lots of healing energy. So have a wonderful day.